France will never take part in operations to unblock Hormuz Strait amid hostilities, says Macron. Right, let's see what Reddit has to say about this. Okay, so if we sort by top, we have, I believe we are about to see the USA leave NATO. I mean, that would be a very, very drastic move if we saw that. I guess it's been kind of looking that way with the Trump administration of recent, and with his threats against certain NATO countries. It definitely felt at some points that that was possibly on the table. But perhaps now, with the way that Europe and European NATO countries have been responding to Trump's Iran war, that could actually be more of a possibility. So let's see. There was a bipartisan bill signed into law specifically to prevent Trump or any future president from withdrawing from NATO unilaterally. Interestingly, though, Rubio co-sponsored the bill. I guess that is interesting for Rubio. I'm still undecided on him. I mean, obviously he's part of the Trump cabinet and therefore probably a bit of a bad egg, but there's also, the possibility that he has some sane ideas as well. So let's see what else we've got here. Let's keep going. Congress will never vote for this. Trump somehow is trying to get impeached before the midterms. I would love to see it. I'm not going to lie. I would love to see a Trump impeachment. Third time's the charm, right? What else have we got here? These type of headlines from France, the UK, or NATO in relation, in relation to the US would have sounded unreal just 2 years ago. But now they are normal. Trump has managed to alienate most nations through all his humiliation, threats of annexation, and random tariffs. Good strategy there, Don. Why don't you call Carney governor one more time or hand out another tariff? I'm sure that'll fix it. Yeah, that wasn't nice when he said that, was it? France and Germany, among others, told the USA no for Iraq in 2003 too, with great speeches at the UN that, well, didn't stop the US, but it was a good try. If you think about it, Saddam doesn't get overthrown, Iran doesn't expand its influence as much because Iraq is still stable, no rise of ISIS, as the Ba'athist regime was still keeping it in check, no mass refugee waves in Europe, no rise of the far right on that continent. Yeah. But did we get that? No. What else have we got here? Let's see. Any more decent comments? Right, so we've got, what? The countries Trump insulted don't want to help us? No way. That's crazy. Points to Macron for a definitive answer. Yep. Let's sort by, what are we going to do? Let's sort by best quickly. Let's see if there's anything different there. So we've read that. I think we've read that. I mean, sorting by top and sorting by best, we kind of get to see the same things, don't we? So why don't we mix it up and we sort by controversial? Let's see some controversial comments. Trump will probably have a field day with this. This is definitely not going to help Ukraine, since the EU will be forced to start buying Russian oil gas again. Bloody well hope not. We will see, but I certainly don't think that will be the case. I mean, we're holding pretty strong. I don't think that we will be doing that. I really hope we don't do that. Let's be honest, Trump was never going to help Ukraine. I mean, he's made his position very clear that he's pretty much on the side of Putin there. What else have we got? Now we have a downvoted comment here. Didn't France say they'd escort ships through? This is like the early days of Ukraine. Long on rhetoric, short on follow-through. No, Trump said they said that. Oh, no, Macron himself announced it when the CDG went to the region. Stop lying. This is once again them trying to be in the headlines without any actual work being put in. His exact words were, as soon as possible after the most intense phase of the conflict has ended, the escort of container ships and tankers to gradually reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah. So we've got an educated comment and a slightly less educated comment there. What do we have here? This one's downvoted as well. Let's have a look. I'm not saying we should do this, but I imagine if the US said that we didn't care if the Strait of Hormuz was closed, that their answer might change. Only one of these nations produces enough oil both to support its needs and to expand. It's clearly not France. Only one of these nations gets an enormous amount of investment from Gulf state oil exports, and it's not France. Hey, that's cool, but we can make do while Iran closes it. Till then, make sure you buy as much Russian oil as possible. Sure, the US removed sanctions, but if you're so high and mighty, surely you can find other sources for yourself other than the big bear of Europe. Right. These are the responses Trump wants so he can stage a false flag attack on the US soil to invoke them NATO articles. Yeah, no, we'll get to that. It definitely, I've seen a lot of I've seen a lot of comments mention that, involving false flags, NATO and stuff like that. USA long-term brain rot. Definitely. Is the US the only country using the strait? No, but the US started this mess, and with midterms coming up, ... Looks like France learned their lesson with Vietnam. Yeah. I'm not going to read too many of these. This isn't really their conflict. Why would any other country be blamed for this? Israel tugged on our strings and we got played. Actions have consequences. Let's just have a quick look. See any fresh comments here? This feels less like a sudden shift and more like countries being careful about getting pulled into another escalation. The Hormuz Strait is obviously critical, but stepping in militarily there could spiral fast. Also, France saying this out aloud is interesting. It's probably reflecting broader hesitation across Europe rather than just a one-off stance. After the last couple of decades, a lot of governments seem way more cautious about direct involvement unless there's a clear mandate. Curious how this plays out, though. If tensions keep rising, do they stick to this position or quietly adjust later? Well, I commend Macron and I commend Europe for their stance that they're taking. I certainly don't think that we should be getting involved in this in one iota. I don't think that that would be good for us. I don't think we need to get involved. We didn't start this. We certainly aren't going to be the ones to try and end this. This is America and Israel's mess, and they need to clean it up.